So cube roots have this little 3 on the inside. This is called the index. And that's just saying instead of coming out in groups of 2 or pairs, everything comes out in groups of 3. So whatever the index is tells you how many groups make it come out of that radical. Okay, so right here it says that. And then take the variables out by groups of 3. So just to show you, if I multiplied this, so this is equivalently what we have over here, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you notice there's a set 3x's here and 3x's here. So those both would come out as x times x, because that's what they're grouped up as, which would equal x squared. Now ultimately you could just do the divided by 3, and x divided by 3 is 2, so hence that answer. Okay, the numbers are a little different, and the numbers are a little different because you're doing everything in groups of 3. Okay, with cube roots you do groups of 3. If it was a 4th root, you do groups of 4. If it was a 5th root, you do groups of 5. If it was a 6th root, you do groups of 6, so on and so forth. All right, so we're doing the same thing that we did with the square roots, but we're just grouping up differently. So 40 divided by 2 is 20. Divide that by 2 and you get 10. Divide that 2, but you get 5. And 5 is prime, so you can't go any further. And you see how you get a group of 3 right here. Well, that group of 3 goes to the outside, so it's 2. This 5 is going to stay on the inside. Here's the important part. Do you see how I have a 3 right here? That 3 has to stay in that index, okay? Or it goes and turns to a square root. So you need that 3 right there in that little crease, and that's really important. And then we have to do the variables. So we're going to say 5 divided by 3. Well, that'd give you one pair or one group of 3s, and you'd have 2 left over. So just to prove it, 3 times 1 is 3. 4, 5 will get you 5. So we're going to have x to the first power on the outside and x to the second power on the inside. Okay. Now, if we took a square root of a negative number, it's not allowed. At least not in Algebra 1. Okay? But if you take a cube root of a negative number, you're good. Okay? And just to give you some signs of it, and that's why, a negative times a negative times a negative, well, actually, this is not even a good way to prove it. How do I do this? Let me do it better. So if I had negative 2 cubed, it comes out as negative 8. So if I wanted to go backwards, I'd have to go to a cube root, and that would get me that answer. Okay, so negatives are allowed, but not with square roots. There's so many different ways to explain it, but that's just one of them. Okay. So if I ever see a negative, kick it out. Kick out the negative. So negative goes out right away. And I'm just going to do 96. So I'm going to divide it by 2. And yes, I'm using my calculator. So 96 divided by 2 is 48. Divide that by 2 and you get 24. Divide by 2 and you get 12. Divide that by 2 and you get 6. And divide that by 2 and you get 3. Okay, so here's a group of 3. And that's the only group of 3 we can make. All of this stays on the inside. So we have negative 2 cube root, because that 3 stays there. 2 times 2 times 3. And 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. So your final answer is negative 2 cube root of 12. All right, last one. We see a negative. We're going to kick it out. But because we're going to kick it out, it just gets rid of that. It makes it positive, so you're good there. The 2 drops out, and we're going to do 189. 189, let's go ahead and divide it by 3. And that gets you 63. Divide that by 3, and you get 21. And you divide that by 3, you get 7. So you only get one group of 3s, and ironically enough, it's with 3s. So that gets kicked out to the outside. But the 7 has to stay on the inside. All right, so then let's work with these. Remember I told you square roots cancel out squares? Well, cube roots cancel out cubes. So this would just put an x out here. Y divided by, the 7 divided by 3, would get you 2 pairs, because 3 times 2 is 6, with a remainder of 1. So that gets us y squared on the outside and y on the inside. And then we divide this by 3, and 3 times 3 is 9, so 3, and then to get to 11, that would leave you with 2. So it'd be z cubed and z to the second power. And that's your final answer. And that is it. I'm going to assume there's going to be questions, so definitely ask, okay? Stay safe, stay healthy. See you later.